I'd rather be a failure than a coward. No one wants to say they're afraid, because if you say you're afraid, then it means you're a coward. And I think that it only means you're a coward if you allow that fear to change your behavior in an aversive way, as in it not towards what you want. And I think that when you allow fear to change your behavior the wrong way, that is when you can give yourself that title of coward. And I think that that is a title that I have feared my whole life. I'm more afraid of that label than the label of failure.
You are what you think about. Everything that you think about, you become. You become what you think about. Thoughts lead to actions. Actions lead to behaviors. Behaviors leads to lifestyle. Lifestyle determines your destiny. So everything begins in the mind. If you can control and wield your mind, you can very much determine your destiny. If you can determine that regardless of what your mind says, you will go to the gym, you will develop a physique unlike 99% of society. If you decide to work on your business and you commit and you determine your mindset and you wield it, you can become successful. If you determine to be a studious individual and knowledgeable, you will be knowledgeable. If you determine to be rich, you'll be rich. Everything is in your control.
First 9 businesses didn't really amount to anything. Nine. As in the first one, spent time, failed. Second one, this one will be different, failed. Third one, this is the one. And then 6 more after that. I'm just painting this picture because it's painful as because the whole time everyone is telling you, I told you so, and they're right. Today. But not forever.
You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that it's possible because you can create your reality. The perception that you have of the world, if you think there's only scarcity, there's no opportunity, that's how you are going to interact with reality. If you think that there's abundance, if you think that there's opportunity, then these things will manifest themselves to you. So you have to believe that you can, and the way that you can get to that state, because a lot of people I have a lot of doubt. So do I. I have it all the time. Even if at these levels, right, you're doing 7-figure months. Dude, there's people doing 8-figure months.
When you're growing in a business, it's very painful. When you're stagnating in a business and you're plateaued and you don't know what to do, it's very painful. When you're declining and you also don't know what to do, it's very painful. And so that means that all conditions of reality are painful. And so if pain is a prerequisite for reality, then it means it's just a signal that we are alive. And so in thinking about that, rather than pain as a problem, it is a signal that I'm breathing, and then becomes irrelevant. But just even the judgment on pain, I relatively reject. Just like pain is good, pain is bad. I mean, in the gym, to give gym example, feeling bad has 0 correlation to your performance in the gym. I remember reading that for the Olympic, weight teams, they talked about that. And I was like, oh, well, if it has no correlation, then it's almost irrelevant. And I can just keep living my life. In the beginning, you're like, I feel bad. And then you think that should weigh on the decision of whether you do the thing that you're supposed to do. And then you start realizing that you can do the thing even though you don't feel good about it. And you start hypertrophying it. But I think the ultimate version of the hypertrophy, when the muscle becomes a tendon or it just becomes fused, is when you don't even consider how you feel. It's just not a thought. You just do it.
And I've said it once and I'll say it again. Broke people and successful people are both self-made, but only the rich and successful will admit it. The person that's broke, that's struggling, it's hard for them to admit that they are there because of the way that they think, but they are there because of the way that they think. Not only that, but it's also understanding that you can't solve the problems in your life with the same information that caused the problems in the first place. You need new information. So you need to become a new person. You become a new person by what? Adopting wisdom, transforming your mind.
The only thing that you can do is win so big that all of them constantly compare themselves to you, and then you'll forget they exist. Success is the only revenge. It's not the best revenge. It's the only one. There's no other revenge, because everything else is petty. Everything else does show that you were thinking about these people all day long, which means they win by default. All you can do is think about your goal and winning. When you win, that's when you become so big that they shrink into irrelevance. You cast a shadow that no one even can see them behind you.
You chase things that you can't catch. You don't chase things that belong to you. People chase happiness because they think that that's what they need, when in reality, happiness is just a byproduct of becoming the best version of yourself. So instead of chasing the emotion, become the type of person that is experiencing that emotion. And you can be in that state more consistently. People are built different. That's why they're better. You have to rebuild yourself if you want a different life. You expect to be a loser with winning results. Your brain isn't getting the signal that your life is because so if your life is not great, it's because you are messing up. That's the name of the game. But unsuccessful people, broke people, instead of looking at themselves in the mirror and assuming responsibility, they want to point it. Because it's to be like, hey, my life, because it's not easy. I get it, 100%. However, when you win in life, hey, you're the first one to raise the hand and be like, hey, I did it. But with that same level of responsibility, you now can dictate what? Your behaviors. So just start inputting positive behaviors, man.
You have to first have courage. You have to have courage to quit your job. You have to have courage to get rejected. You have to have courage to ask the girl out, to shoot the shot, to run the ad. And if you don't first have courage, nothing else follows. And so I see it as, again, it's not are you courageous or not, it's how courageous are you. It's not a binary. And so I think that based on my history, I have courage because I have done things that have required it. But I think Elon has more courage than I do. And so I see that as, how can I move more in that direction if this is a trait that leads me into the better version of myself? It won't get harder. Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, everything else is downhill. No one can learn it for you. No one can work out for you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. No one can learn skills for you. And so in the early days, like, it feels so painful because you're like, you look around to see who can help you, and then you're like, it's me again. And so rather than hate the fact that you're going through it, remembering that these will be arrows that you put in the quiver that you're going to be using to slay the future bigger dragons. And so expecting it to be easy is what makes it much harder than it ever is.